Therapeutic inertia causes people with MS to end up losing their jobs and end up in wheelchairs, and it's preventable. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to identify therapeutic inertia and how to fight back. Don't turn away because that starts right now. Hey! Howdy! Thanks for learning about MS with me, Aaron Boster. I'm the founder of the Boster Center for Multiple Sclerosis, where we care for families impacted by MS from around the globe. On telemedicine and in office, we are currently actively enrolling for clinical trials, and we accept all major insurance carriers. Today, I would like to discuss a very nasty word in multiple sclerosis: therapeutic inertia. Inertia is a physics term, meaning a body at rest wants to stay at rest. Like if a boulder is still, it doesn't want to move, and a body in motion wants to stay in motion. The term therapeutic inertia is defined as failure to initiate a therapy or failure to escalate or intensify a therapy despite evidence that it needs to be done. It's one of the causes, one of the major causes that people impacted by MS get worse, lose their jobs, and may end up in wheelchairs in situations when otherwise they didn't need to, because we allowed their disease to progress when we could have intervened. Therapeutic inertia is everywhere, and most people don't see it. And in this video, I'm going to help you decode it, identify it, so that you can fight back. So if we reflect about that definition, therapeutic inertia is failure to start or to intensify a therapy when we find evidence that we need to. Now, once you become aware of that definition, and once you start to look for it, you're going to see it everywhere. You're going to see example after example, and each one of those examples contributes to somebody not getting better. In the field of MS, it's rampant. It's a major, major issue. And there are, in fact, 3 parties that are actively involved in participating in therapeutic inertia, participating in not helping people live their best lives despite having MS. Who are they? Well, the first, believe it or not, is actually the patient, the person impacted by MS. Now, I'm not throwing stones or saying you're doing a bad job. I'm simply making you aware that there are many times that the person with the condition may inadvertently participate in therapeutic inertia. Let me give you some examples. If someone impacted by MS has a new neurological symptom lasting longer than a day, they're instructed to call me. At the Boster Center, we want them to give us a call so we can talk about what's going on, bring them in, check a urinalysis. If the urine is clean and we don't think that there's an occult urinary tract infection, we may give them a course of steroids, 5 days of IV steroids, and then we'll bring them back a month later to evaluate them to make sure they've gotten better. And at that visit, we'll critically analyze if their current disease-modifying therapy is working. Now, there may be lots of reasons why the human doesn't want to do all that. For example, the last time they took steroids, they gained 20 pounds. Their husband made them stay in the other room because they were impossible to deal with, and they had insomnia, and they were irritable. And they may not want to do that again. They know that their medicine is going to be switched possibly when they come clean about this attack and we come back and discuss it, because we've now experienced breakthrough disease activity on a therapy, and Dr. B is going to want to escalate their therapy. And they just got their therapy paid for, or they finally figured out how to make it tolerable, or they finally figured out how to manage a side effect, or what have you. These are examples of reasons why someone might not be completely forthcoming. There's other reasons. For example, they may experience a symptom which is embarrassing, erectile dysfunction, or bladder incontinence, or horrible constipation that requires manual disimpaction. These are things that can happen to people impacted by MS, and they may not want to be like, hey, my penis doesn't work, help me out, doc, right? I mean, that's kind of embarrassing. And so you may imagine that they may shy away from that. We may offer a therapy for a symptom, and the therapy may be very, very expensive. And the patient quite literally may have to make decisions about, do they want to allocate their family's resources for that or not? Again, I'm not throwing stones. I want to bring it to your attention. I also want to point out that patients are not the worst actors, not by a long shot. And I want to talk about the second group of people involved in therapeutic inertia. And this second group of people is actually a system of people. It's the system that we practice medicine in. And it is bureaucratic, and it is complex, and it facilitates therapeutic inertia. For example, we may identify that someone has pathologic fatigue. They're exhausted. They're sleeping well. Their sleep hygiene is as good as it can be. They're eating properly. They're doing all the things that we can ask them to do, and yet they're literally falling asleep at their desk, and they're at risk of losing their job because of poor productivity. And so we're going to give them a medicine called modafinil, Provigil. This is a medicine where there are clinical research trials that prove that it works to trick the brain into being more awake and help with energy in MS and cog fog in MS. But there are other papers that say, nah, it doesn't work. And it's not FDA approved for MS. It is FDA approved for other sleep disorders like narcolepsy or shift worker syndrome. I can tell you, however, having done MS clinics for over 15 years now, the stuff works really well in most patients, and it can be a massive game changer. And so we decide to do this, and we submit to the insurance, and they come back and say, no, we deny it because it's not FDA approved. So I write an appeal letter, and I send the appeal in, and they say, no, I still deny it. So then I do a peer-to-peer call, and they say, no. And this is an example of therapeutic inertia. We identify that we need to do something to help this human live their best life, and we're being told by the system, nuh-uh. Another example would be someone that we newly diagnosed with MS who has prognostic factors that predispose them to have more aggressive disease. And we therefore want to place them on a highly effective therapy. And we submit to the insurance, and they come back and say, no, 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 we won't pay for that drug until you have failed 2 drugs on this list. That's called a step edit, where we force the patient to go on a low efficacy therapy and fail the therapy before they're allowed to have access to the high efficacy drug. Now that's a really big issue, because when you say fail the therapy, what you're really saying is we're going to allow the human being to develop brain damage, and then once we identify they've had brain damage because they have a new spot on their MRI or they have a new clinical deficit, then it's okay to switch them. That's therapeutic inertia. The patient can participate in therapeutic inertia, and the system can participate in therapeutic inertia, but they are not the worst actors. The worst actors actually are doctors. How is that possible, you say? How possibly could my lovely doctor participate in therapeutic inertia? Well, I'm not saying that they're actively trying to make you worse, but I'll give you several examples where a doc may in fact participate in therapeutic inertia. Imagine a fast clinic visit where the doctor's running behind and they have a long schedule ahead of them and they're scurrying and they get in the room and all they want is for things to be okay. They want you to tell them there's nothing wrong. They may even change how they ask you questions. For example, hey, you're doing good, right? You're not having any problems with your medicine, right? If the patient can just say, yes, doc, I'm fine, then they can skip past the cumbersome process of taking a careful history, of asking about those invisible symptoms, of delving into something that might take them 20, 30 minutes, but they're on the clock and they have to get to the next patient, oh my. And so the speed at which a doctor sees patients may in fact contribute to therapeutic inertia. There's other examples. Think about the example I gave earlier with the prior authorization applying for Provigil. Well, each time I submit a request and each time it's denied, I have to either choose to do a bunch more work, fill out more papers, make phone calls, or just let it fall. And as you can imagine, as there's mounting and mounting pressures on the doctor, they may just let that fall. My point here is that not intentionally, but sometimes unintentionally, doctors may contribute in therapeutic inertia. Now here's the deal. If we collectively identify that something's not right, if we diagnose multiple sclerosis during a global viral pandemic, we need to start treatment. Yes, it's more complicated. Yes, it may change how we think about the medicines, but it would be wrong, in my opinion, to deny someone newly diagnosed with MS starting a DMT. Because we know from clinical trials that even waiting a year or two changes the trajectory of their disease in a bad way forever. And so the sooner that we start on therapy, whether there be a global viral pandemic or not, the better it is for that patient neurologically. And I just imagine when the global viral pandemic is over, they're still going to have MS. And I want them to be in the best shape possible. But that involves a lot of extra work starting a therapy during this COVID-19 era. I want you to identify therapeutic inertia. And actually, I'll tell you something interesting. Once you're familiar with the concept, therapeutic inertia, failure to start or intensify a therapy despite evidence that we need to, you'll be surprised that when you start to look for it, you can find it everywhere, and then you can start to fight back. Now, let me give you a pro tip to help you have a guiding light and to avoid traps of therapeutic inertia. Take out a piece of paper and pencil, or in the modern era, maybe you'll take out your phone and make a note on it. But the point is, I want you to write down life goals. I want you to write down 20 to 30-year life goals. I'm being serious. Write down for me some 20 to 30-year life goals. Do you want to climb Monte Picchu? Do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle on her wedding night and she's only 5 years old right now? Do you want to finish your master's degree? Are you going to become a partner in your firm? Write down your goals. Now, why, you ask me? Because that's the reason why we fight. That's the reason why we don't quit. That's the reason we do things that are inconvenient. That's the reason that we take medicines that are expensive and have side effects. It's not because Dr. B said so or because you're supposed to. It's because you're trying to achieve your life goals, and we don't want to let MS prevent you from doing that. And it's been my experience that if we align ourselves around your life goals, the patient, the provider, and even the system that they function in now understands, hey, we have to fight back. We have to do that appeal letter. We have to push to get this person on a highly effective therapy. We have to put up with the side effects of steroids because we're trying to help them achieve their life goals. And I want you to achieve your life goals. So I challenge you to write them down for me. If you feel comfortable sharing them in the section down below, we would love to read them. I also would welcome any comments that you have on therapeutic inertia. Have you participated in it? Has your doctor participated in it? Have you been aware of it in the past, or is it something that you're just waking up to? Now, if you'd like to learn more about treatment philosophies, click the video that's on your screen right now. My name's Aaron Boster, and I want to thank you for learning about MS with me. Until my next video or my next live stream, or the next time I see you at the Boster Center for MS, take care.